Chapter 1. Present Day, Spring 2021. "It's here!" a middle-aged man carrying firewood on his back shouted in terror, alerting the rest of the people in the small farming village as he pointed to the nearby forest where the said beast was emerging. It was a giant, green, hairy spider with long white fangs, 8 purple eyes, and it was as big as a large hill, and was hungry for human flesh. "Miss Slayer, please save us!" a woman holding a small child in her arms pleaded as she and the crowd ran away from the approaching monsters. Among all the chaos was a young woman emerged from the crowd, calmly walking towards the beast. The woman herself wore a skin-tight black jumpsuit with dark green eyes, dark fern green eyes, dark green armor plates on her shoulders, knees, elbows, and one large one on her chest, with a matching sash around her waist. She held her sheathed samurai sword on her left side. She also wore knee-high black laced-up black boots on her legs, palmed fingerless gloves covering her hands, and a gray poison protection mask covering her mouth and nose, and on her back was a tall boomerang bone, the legendary Hiraiko's. "Everyone please remain calm and stay back," the Demon Slayer ordered. Her big fern-green eyes focused on the giant spider as it got closer and closer to her, as she stood in front of the crowd of villagers protectively, and with one swift movement, she swung her Hiraiko's at the beast, slicing its legs and head off in a matter of seconds. As the Demon Slayer caught her weapon when it flew back to her, she turned halfway towards the crowd, so in case the beast was still alive, she would be ready. "Have no fear, the monster is dead now," she announced as she flicked her long chestnut brown side braid to her right shoulder as her curtain bangs flowed in the wind. "Oh, how can we ever repay you, Miss Slayer?" the village headman asked, gratitude weighing heavily in his voice. The young woman smiled underneath her mask. "The payment you previously promised me and some of the monsters remained will be enough. And please, call me Erin, the great-granddaughter of the very first Demon Slayer, Catherine Rena." After Erin had collected her payment and some of the giant spider's remains, she changed into her fern-green tank top, navy shorts, and black Converses, and placed her suit, mask, sword, and armor in a gray drawstring bag she brought with her, and finally let her long wavy hair, which went just above her bottom, loose. And when she reached the edge of the village, she turned to face the villagers who had come to bid her a final farewell and thank you. "Goodbye. Call on me again if you need any more assistance," Erin called over her shoulder as she began her journey back to the nearby mountains with her Hiraiko's on her back. Once deep enough in the mountains, Erin came across a valley where a large brick-walled area stood, the village of the White Rose. Erin smiled as she knocked loudly on the pair of mighty iron gates, which opened in a few moments. On the other side of the gates was an old man with a long gray mustache, a shriveled-up eye, a hook for a left hand, and a brown jacket that had clearly seen better days. "Welcome back, Miss Erin," the man said with a scratchy voice. The young Demon Slayer smiled kindly at him. "It's good to be home, Quartermaster," she stated, walking through the large entrance to the even larger village, full of people of heritage from all over the world, a few crop fields, plenty of farm animals, and homes. "Hey, Erin, welcome back. What would you pray this time?" a woman not much older than Erin asked, approaching the girl. The older woman had violet eyes, dark tan brown skin, scarlet-colored hair, and wore a short-sleeved green shirt and black shorts and brown boots. "Hey, Gwen. It was just a giant tarantula, but I brought back some parts of the legs. I was thinking we could make some armor and maybe even a few weapons out of them," Erin said, taking the monster remains she had collected from her last mission out from her small pack and showing them to Gwen, who smiled approvingly at them. "Oh, great! I'll get these to Mr. Campbell. He'll be sure to make good stuff out of these," the redhead said as Erin handed her the monster remains. "I'll see you later, E. In the meantime, you should rest up while you can before you set out for your next mission tomorrow," Gwen stated, waving goodbye to Erin as she made her way to another part of the village. That was when a small, yellow, cream-colored cat monster with red eyes, 2 black paws, a black star mark on its forehead, 2 fluffy tails, and 2 black streaks on the edge of each tail, came sprinting over to Erin from another part of the village, jumping into her arms excitedly. Hello, Kilala. Were you a good kitty while I was away? Erin cooed as she embraced the little cat, who purred and nuzzled her cheek and neck. Hey, Erin! A young girl's voice shouted. The young demon slayer turned to see with her cat friend and looked up to see their other 3 teammates approaching them. They were 3 kids, each around 10 years old. 1 girl and 2 boys, each around 10 years old. The girl had pink eyes, teal hair, and 2 messy pigtails, dirt on her cheeks, along with a bandage on her left one. She wore red overalls over a yellow shirt, teal-colored shoes, and had fair skin. The first boy had frizzy brown hair, a big nose, blue eyes, pale skin, and wore a yellow shirt, black jeans, and white sneakers. The other boy had dark tan skin and sharp teal-green eyes, a large mass of curly black hair, and wore a light blue hoodie with his hands in his middle pocket, blue jeans, and red sneakers. Finally, he had a bored look on his face. Erin smiled at the 3 kids as they approached her and Kilala. Hey, Nikki, she said to the girl as she gave her a high five. Neil, Max, you guys didn't miss me too much, I hope, she teased while glancing at the 2 boys. Fuck no, didn't even realize you were gone, the black-haired boy in the blue hoodie stated, rolling his eyes. Yeah, right. Max here was a wreck when he found out you took on another mission without us, the other boy stated, pointing a thumb at the black-haired boy, who frowned. Shut up, Neil, Max growled at the frizzy-haired boy, making Erin smile softly as she walked over to Max and ruffled his black curls. Sorry about that, guys, but it was just a giant tarantula in the village outside of the mountains. Nothing I couldn't handle with just my hirai coats, she stated, as Max swatted her hands away from his head. Yeah, well, whatever. We're about to go on a big mission anyway, so don't worry about it, Max grumbled, but Erin's smile vanished and was then replaced with a serious expression. That's right. That reminds me. Do you 3 have your weapons, armor, and other such things ready for the mission? Food, ammo, water? She questioned as Kilala jumped out of her arms and onto her left shoulder. Yep, Neil stated confidently. Yeah, I'm ready for action, Nikki exclaimed, pumping her fists. Yeah, no worries. I'll sneak out when the time comes to leave tomorrow, so David won't stop me, Max promised with a mischievous grin, making his 4 teammates, 3 human, 1 feline, turn to him. Max, Erin warned. I'm sorry, but you know David. He won't let me go on a mission that's far from the village without him. And ironically, I can fight better than he ever could. You'd think he'd trust me more, Max stated, crossing his arms. Well, David is your dad. Well, adopted dad. It makes sense that he would want to protect you, despite the fact you can obviously protect yourself, Neil said, but Max only rolled his eyes again. Don't forget, he's also the village doctor. We slayers tend to gain a lot of injuries, unless you're Erin, of course, Nikki stated, making Erin smile at her. Yeah, I know, but he won't let me take this mission without him. You know how overprotective he is, Max stated bitterly. What if I talk to David? Erin offered as she scratched Kilala behind her ears, making the little cat purr and lean into her touch as she continued to sit on her shoulder. What fucking difference would it make? Max asked with a shrug. I've known David since we were kids. I'm sure he'll listen to me. Not to mention I'm team leader. That gives me some sense of authority when it comes to missions, the brunette replied. Well, I think it's worth a shot. I think David might be at Isabella and Leslie's place, Nikki said. Oh no, is Dawn sick again? Neil questioned. Erin frowned at the boy's assumption. Neil, don't assume. Even if that's the case, Dawn has very fragile health, so let's not talk about it so lightly, she stated firmly. Okay, Neil said, holding his hands up in offense as he and the rest of his teammate made their way through the village to a house larger than most of the homes in the Demon Slayer's village, the orphanage. It was owned by a couple in their early 30s named Isabella and Leslie. Erin was very fond of the couple, not only because they took in any child that needed a home and loved them as their own flesh and blood, but also because of how kind they were to everyone they came across. Once arrived at the orphanage, Erin knocked on the door, and after a few short moments, a young woman with long black hair in a bun, with deep, kind purple eyes and pale skin, opened the door. Oh, Erin, it's you. What a pleasant surprise. How was your mission? The woman asked in a gentle voice. It was successful, thank you, Miss Isabella. We were actually wondering if David was here. Me and my team were here to have a talk with him, Erin stated, gesturing to Max, Nikki, Neil, and Kilala. Oh, of course. David's just finishing up in the infirmary with Dawn, Isabella replied, opening the door to lead the demon slayer team inside.